All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Huddle, KGUN 9's streaming sports show. I'm Pat Parris. Jason Barr has the day off, but we thought it was so important because Arizona basketball, of course, on a roll, ready for the Big 12 tournament. There's Ryan Hansen, a frequent guest here on the Huddle, the color analyst for basketball on radio for the University of Arizona. Rhino, how's it going this fine Tuesday as we record the show?
Well, it's March, so that means it's my favorite time of the year. I think it's your favorite time of the year. And why? Because of March Madness is upon us with all the conference tournaments starting here this week, especially today with the Big 12 underway, and then the big one next week.
Yeah, exactly right. A lot of fun this time of the year, and you got to like the fact that this Arizona team is on a roll right now, having won the Big 12 regular season title and getting that win over Colorado. Let's start with our poll question, Rhino, and that poll question has to do with the Big 12 tournament because there's a lot of debate about, do you go all out to win a tournament that's a conference tournament, or do you try to maybe hold something back a little bit? I know that's hard to do because your ultimate goal is much bigger than just the Big 12 tournament. Here's the question. What should Arizona basketball's approach be going into the Big 12 tournament? A, go all out for the win. B, don't force it, but win. C, take it easy, be healthy. Sometimes they can, there's a little truth to all of those, but pick one of them. You can go to our X account right now, KGUN9 X account, and vote. I voted for A because I'm always if you're gonna enter some kind of contest, don't you want to win?
I think you share the same sentiment that Tommy Lloyd has and has been on record as saying, and I'm with Tommy on this one. The last thing you want to do is take your foot off the pedal and start to change or alter your rotations or your attack mentality, because it's hard to get that back. Pat, momentum's a fickle thing.
Yep.
And especially in college sports at this time of year, I've talked about it for a long time. February in college basketball is moving month. Capital M, moving month. You're either moving in the right direction or you're moving in the wrong direction. Now that we're into March, it's the month of momentum. And you want to keep the momentum going. The last thing you want to do is give guys breaks, say, let's keep so-and-so healthy or get him rested up. Now, if there's a legitimate injury, a legitimate reason to give somebody a break, that's one thing, but not because of the postseason tournament. So I am all for, if you're going to put us in something that there's a championship on the line, we want to keep the mentality of a competitive spirit as the number one focus.
This program, while it's been 25 years since the Final Four, it has been a program that wins conference tournaments and regular season championships and then conference tournaments regularly. And just in year two, Rhino, how big of an accomplishment in your mind is it that Arizona was able to not only win the Big 12 conference regular season title, but do it in convincing fashion down the stretch?
It's a great point. Arizona does have a long list of success at the conference championship level, especially Pac-10, then Pac-12. You can even go back to the WAC days with some great basketball under Coach Freddie Snowden. Let's make sure that those teams are recognized. They seem to be forgotten. But now you are clearly, by far, in the best basketball conference in all of college basketball. You could not have said that about the WAC, the Pac-10, or the Pac-12, really at any point in time. Were there good teams or great teams? Yes. But top to bottom would never have competed nationally for the recognition of the most difficult conference to play in. So you start there. The competitive list of teams that you had to run through over an 18-game schedule, and Wildcats do it, as you mentioned, in convincing fashion, won the conference by 2 games. I don't put a lot of weight into it that it was only year 2. I think there's a lot of great historical basketball programs in this league, and you just happen to be putting them together at this point. That's the seminal moment, is college basketball right now. The epicenter is the Big 12, and the leaders of that epicenter are the Arizona Wildcats, something to absolutely cherish.
We're going to show now the awards that came out just yesterday, as voted on by the league coaches, and Arizona cleaned up, right? No, this is just the first team. 3 guys on the first team: Bradley, Burries, Krivas, all well-deserving. Third team, Koa Pete. Honorable mention, Tobe Awaki. You also have the rookie team. You had Pete and you had Burries on there. You also have the all-defensive team. We had guys on that. And then that's the big one right there, Ryan, the Big 12 Player of the Year in Jaden Bradley. Third time in 5 years Arizona's had a Player of the Year for the conference. And then Tommy Lloyd, of course, Coach of the Year, and Tobe Awaka, sixth man. That's pretty impressive that on a team that doesn't have a DeBonsa or a Toppin to get these awards. That's saying a lot.
And it says really what the coaches value in this conference. And let's remind the listeners and viewers here, these awards are not fan awards or media awards. These are all voted on by the coaches, the guys who know this conference more and more inside and out than any of us, which I do think there's some commentary I read about the award announcement yesterday that felt maybe Jaden Bradley should not have been the Player of the Year because of his upside may not be what an AJ DeBonsa is or what JT Toppin has meant to his team. What I love is that this conference of coaches has recognized and value winning. And everything we talked about, the success that Arizona as a collective team has had, individual accomplishments and recognitions always follow team accomplishments. And so I love that the coaches recognized the best and most important player on the best team is Jaden Bradley. There's arguments that Braden Burry's in moments or could be the most important player for the NCAA tournament. Mo Krivas defensively needs his flowers. Koa Pete in moments was Arizona's best player, but that's the beauty of the Wildcats, a balanced group recognizing and valuing team success. I think that shined through entirety from one of the honors all the way through. And Tommy Lloyd deserves every bit of the Coach of the Year recognition as well. And he, and I would like to add, Jaden Bradley joins an illustrious list of conference players of the year. And it doesn't happen all too often, albeit 3 times in the last 5 years. But the Wildcats having Jaden Bradley's name up in the rafters, I hope that he can cap it off with something truly special in the postseason. But for those of us that have watched him closely for the last 3 years, to me, this is an extremely well-deserved recognition.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. By the way, in case people are wondering, Caleb Love 2 years ago, a couple years before that, it was Ben Matherin. Both of those, though, were obviously in the Pac-12. This comes in the Big 12. I'm with you. I was really happy to see that the coaches got it right. And I know that some who may not be watching all the games or understand, sometimes you have to pick the player that means the most to the best team. And then I think that in this case, it's the old adage that the MVP comes usually from the best team. Well, it doesn't have to, but in this case, I think they recognized the best team and the player that means the most to that team is Jaden Bradley. He, from where we saw him when he first transferred here to where we are now, it's pretty remarkable. He was a highly touted player. Don't get me wrong, but for him to just shape this team and be able to take those the freshmen under his wing and yet blend it with guys like Mo Krivas and Tobe Awaka. It's been really special.
Yeah, he's a special human being to be able to make those improvements and strides. Give the coaching staff credit for developing, but give all the ultimate credit to Jaden for his improvement. But what I love more importantly is how he's gone about his business. He does not have to be the leading scorer every night. He doesn't have to be the all lights and shine on me. He's actually a pretty quiet young man, but he leads by example. And one anecdote for you that I find super interesting, we're talking about valuing success and that individual recognition. With all due respect, let's go back in time to Ike Diagu. From 2005, the ASU Sun Devils finished last in the Pac-10. And if you remember at that time, the bottom 2 teams in the Pac-10 conference didn't get to play in the conference tournament. Who was the most valuable player, the Player of the Year in 2005? Ike Diagu from the last place team, who the team wasn't even at the banquet when the announcement came out, because this was back in the Pac-10 days where they had an actual banquet at the tournament. I found it quite stunning that Salim Stoudemire, the best player on the Wildcats team who led them to an Elite 8 run, was not recognized, but we recognized the best player on the last place team, albeit he was amazing. Very, very good player. So no disrespect to him, but I will obviously, as Arizona people, we feel they got it right. But when you put that in context, to me, they definitely got it right with Jaden Bradley.
You mentioned ASU, so I'll real quick ask you, it looks, all reports are that Bobby Hurley's done at ASU. They won their tournament game today, though, in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. And that, I guess that's a testament to that that ASU team has not been, on the national stage really recognized, but we know how tenacious they can be, and that they proved it again today. What are your thoughts about Bobby Hurley likely out at ASU?
Well, you look back at Bobby Hurley's tenure, and you can say one thing about him. His players played hard, and he got the most out of the talent, I feel, for what he recruited and was able to develop. He was a little bit challenged, I think, in getting the top-end talent to come and stay at Arizona State. There's a couple of really good players that have come through that program that have made it into the NBA. They just didn't stay long enough, or there wasn't enough of them when you think of a James Harden, a Lou Dort, come to mind. And so I think from that respect, he got the most out of his players. I just don't think that at this stage of college basketball, you can be retained without making an NCAA tournament run more consistently than Bobby Hurley was able to do. I will miss the rivalry. There was definitely some angst and some fire that he brought to the ASU-Arizona rivalry that I will miss that part of it. And by all accounts, his players love playing for him. And so I can't knock that at all.
I would agree. There is a fieriness about him, and he really seemed to amp up Wildcat Nation for sure. And we'll see who ends up being at the helm of that program in the years to come. Before we talk about the Pac-12 more in depth and what's left for Arizona basketball, let's talk about the big news from today, and that is Caleb Holt, the number 4 player in ESPN's top 100 ranking, committing today to the U of A, and he did it on First Take on ESPN. Let's look real quick at his quick announcement.
For next year, I will be committing to the University of Arizona.
There it is.
Going to Tucson.
Going to Tucson. So there it was. And he did it with family there, but he also did it with Stephen A. Smith sitting right next to him. Ryan Hansen, he looks like the real deal. This guy can shoot, he can drive, he can score. Apparently, he can play defense as well. He looks to be that next freshman coming in next year that can elevate this program again to a top 10 program.
Yeah, you look at the contributions of Braden Burries and Koa Pete coming into their freshman year, and now throughout the whole course of the season, they were ready. This Caleb Holt is ready. He is elite level ready for college basketball. He's going to step into a starting role at Arizona. He wants to contribute. I loved his one comment that he made amongst a number of comments was he wants to win a national championship, and he wants to do that at Arizona. I love that. One day, Pat, maybe on In the Huddle, we'll have to reveal the undershirt at some point that, and pull back to Arizona like Caleb is doing here. Yep. But what it does is it speaks to Arizona's continued national relevance in college basketball to land this high-level recruit. It's exciting for Tommy Lloyd and all of the staff to land another one. And Tommy's proven now with the success of this year that you don't have to raid the transfer portal to reload. You can do it, quote unquote, the old-fashioned way and build from the ground up. Recruit freshmen that are ready to go, develop them. There's more pieces to be added or to be retained. That news, I'm sure, will come, and we'll follow that as the season comes to a close here over the next month. But huge news for Arizona basketball landing the second highest rated basketball recruit in Arizona basketball history in Caleb Holt. Yeah,
and number 1 on Tommy's list of all the great recruits that he's had. 141 wins, by the way, for Tommy Lloyd. Looking to do, add to many more down the stretch here. Your thoughts about where they are with the Big 12 tournament before we even turn the page to next Sunday in the selection show?
Positioned well in the Big 12 tournament. You got to win 3 games in 3 days to take home the championship. Whoever they play will at least have 1 game under their belt, possibly 2 games under their belt. There's pros and cons to that from a conference tournament standpoint. If we're an Arizona fan, you want the rest. You want to start your tournament appearance on a Thursday, and what you want to see is, again, continue that momentum. You want clean basketball, low to no turnovers. That'd be a dream, but low turnovers. You want sharpness at the free throw line. You want that defensive intensity to carry through. You want the physicality to come back. I felt like Arizona wasn't as physical or as energetic as it needed to be up in Boulder on Saturday. I was there, witnessed it firsthand. It took about 20 minutes for them to get going, and there was a natural hangover from the high of beating Iowa State and clinching the Big 12 championship. they got to get that edge back. And that may be what I look at the Big 12 tournament as a positive right now, is you've got this chance to restart it in a one and done scenario, at least for potentially who they're going to play. I mean, if they play Cincinnati, Cincinnati will be playing for their NCAA tournament lives on Thursday. So you get a feel for that. If we lose, we go home. And that's important to get that taste this week, because you don't want to taste it with a big tablespoon dose next week.
Rhino, before we wrap it up and look at the poll question and see how results are going there, I want to ask you, in this history, you've been around this program a long time, you've seen all those Final Four teams and the national championship team. Just what with your eye test and your gut feel, where does this team? Where are we putting up too high up on a pedestal, or is this team really one of the better teams that we've seen and they have a chance to win a national championship?
It's hard to deny the fact that they had the best regular season in Arizona basketball history from a number of total wins and against the competition in which they did that. So that's hard to look at that and say this isn't, to date, one of the best. I look at a few different factors going into the NCAA tournament, and it's really about margin for error, because you most likely are not going to be at your peak for 6 straight games to win a national title. There's going to be 1, 2, maybe a half here or there. That can you overcome adversity? Can you play and win when the chips are down, the ball's not falling in the hoop, you turn it over, it's just not your night, quote unquote. Can you withstand those off nights? I think about a PGA golfer, and PGA golfers are not on the PGA because they can shoot under par on their best day. It's they don't blow up on their worst day. They never have that horrible round that, I'm sorry, Pat, I've never seen your golf swing, but my guess is it can be pretty bad. On your worst day, it can be pretty bad. That's where I like this Arizona basketball team, where on their worst day, and you call this their floor. We talk about a floor and a ceiling. The ceiling's there for sure. Arizona can beat anybody in the country on their best day. I feel great about that, even against teams on their best day. Can they beat, more often than not, the teams in the NCAA tournament when they're closer to their floor on their worst day? That's when I look at this margin for error. You want the biggest margin for error, but you want that floor to be super high. And because of Arizona's defense, rebounding, ability to get to the free throw line, lack of reliance on the three-point shot, I actually think is a plus for them. You look at those factors, night in and night out, most of the time, those things don't just go away. And so that gives me a lot of hope for this Arizona basketball team. But I also caveat it, Pat, with one major factor. It's a one-game single elimination tournament, 6 days, 6 games in a row. And it can just be that day. And how many years have we seen it where clearly Arizona's better than its opponent, but it was that one day. So you really just want to avoid that one day.
Yep. All right, let's take a look at the poll question and see how the people are voting for this. Remember, the poll question, kind of in essence was, how do you approach this Big 12 tournament, and whether or not you go all out for the win, you kind of hold back a little bit and try to win, or you just take it easy and try to stay healthy. And don't force it, but win is 50%, kind of running away with it. 37.5% go all out for the win, which is what I said, and I think you said it as well, along with Tommy Lloyd, and then 12.5%. But the bottom line is, you want to win the tournament. Why would you even bother to enter it if you weren't going to try to win it?
I totally agree. And that 12.5% that said take it easy, be healthy, those are the football fans that love the prevent defense, that get a lead and just sit on it and prevent the team from scoring. And you and I both know, really, prevent defense is prevent you from winning more often than not.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Ryan Hansen, thank you so much for the time. We do appreciate it. I know I'll see you along the tournament road, and we'll catch up, and we'll have you on KEGA 9 at some point during the tournament as well.
Thanks, Pat. Love the passion. Go Cats.
All right. Bear down. Go Cats. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you for joining us on KEGA 9's streaming sports talk show, The Huddle. We'll see you next Tuesday. Jason will return with me as well. We'll see you then.